Um, what is hell and where is it?
That's easy. It's the astral realm. So we are here in the physical world, right? We know it's physical. We have the five physical senses that tell us what's real and what isn't. And if you don't think that's true, run into a wall, you know it's real. So when you pass from this plane and in your dream states, and some people, when they're doing drugs, too much drugs and alcohol, I'm not going to get into that one, my favorite subject. There are levels, there are 7 levels. And what does that mean? There are 7 places to experience things that are not physical. And that's the next one. It's like a house, and that's the room next door to us. The lower level 1 and 2, that is what is called hell. Why is it? Because it's very, very low frequency. It is devoid of hope. It's like the Dementors. Why is it? I don't know. I I have no idea why. But most people, when they pass or in the dream state, you're going to go to levels 3 or 4. A lot of beautiful channel stuff comes from 5 and 6, and the masters hang out on the higher ones and all that stuff. But that's really what it is. Do you get sent there? No. You send yourself there by your own fear and your own dogma. There are people in certain religious beliefs or dogmatic beliefs that believe that they don't deserve anything else because they're sinners or they're evil or whatever. You can end up there. You can force yourself into it. But I don't happen to believe that. Do your own research. Look on the internet, read books, ask people that you trust, and then use your own discernment to figure out what it is. Once again, this is just coming from me. And I'm just telling you my experience, what the theosophical belief is.
Well, it certainly feels sometimes like we're in hell, like Earth is, or on the edge of it anyway.
Well, it is. It is. This is so called a deep, dark, evil place that we're in the barbaric age because we're ending a lot of the things. And it's fearful and it's frightening because it's devoid of hope or love or whatever. I love the Dementors. I love the Harry Potter Dementors. But we create a lot of that ourselves by our own fears. Therefore, have hope. Find something that you believe in that's higher than yourself. Go look in the mirror, go within, ask yourself, what gives me hope? What is that feeling of warm heart, cool head? To not let your emotions control your whole life. Passions are good, but if they control your life, are they connected just to the physical world? The physical world is what causes the problems. Gravity and emotions, there I go again, but it does feel like that. We're here to overcome that. And we're here to spiritualize matter. We're here to add love, light, and power to things that are physical, because that's all they are, is physical.
It feels like it's easy to have hope when it's a sunny day and everything's going well, and less easy when we're kind of in the pits of despair or feeling forsaken.
Yes, good and evil are poured into the same cup, and we drink it unawares. It's all going on. Just because it's sunny on my mountain in Montana, down in the valley, it may be snowing or raining. So it's very personal. And we forget that we're these tiny little microcosms in this big place because we're supposed to forget. That's part of the game. It's very, very personal. So what we want to do is to learn to detach some and see a bigger perspective. And the greater perspective that we have, the kinder we will be to ourselves and to other people. How do you do it? I don't know. I can only tell you how I have to keep pulling myself back over and over again on a daily basis. I had too much sleep last night. Believe it or not, I woke up and I was cranky. I thought, all right, Zoli, you got about 60 seconds to fix this before your cat quits looking at you like you're a demon. So I had to control my thoughts and think, what can I do today to make it a good day? What can I do to help others? What can I do? Focus on Zoli art. It didn't take that long, but I've trained myself to do that. Not by hook and crook. It's been very difficult. And I can't always do it. Sometimes we're supposed to just feel like shit. We are. And what do you get out of that? Then you have something to compare it to and you feel great, you know? So we have the highs and lows, and you're not going to get away from it. The only difference is how far do we go there? My dad used to say to me, he was such a smart guy. He would say, you know, you'll go all the way this way and then all the way that the way. But sooner or later, you will learn to bump into that and have closer boundaries and to be reasonable and to use your mind and to use your thoughts and to be able to talk yourself out of some of this stuff. We don't have to live in fear. You just don't. Now, am I talking to the first world? Probably am. There's a lot to be afraid of out there, but how do we control that? We can only do it inside of ourselves with a belief in a higher power, whatever that is to you. That's just how I do it. Coffee helps.
Coffee helps. But
I'm
I hear
so
you
glad now that
saying,
it's good for you.
yeah, that's right. It has health benefits. I hear you talking about having, you don't, even in the darkest places, you don't have to live in fear or stay in it. And you touch on that in Persephone's Pup, the reality pirate book. And that shows a very interesting perspective of so-called hell.
Everything's happening at one time, whether or not we believe it or see it. And anything you can imagine can happen, but not necessarily in this reality. We get all freaked out about the news, about what's happening and how awful things are going to be. As I said, I think last week, what was it like when Genghis Khan and his army rolled into town? You think that wasn't destructive? You think that wasn't crazy and fearful? What are these wars like for people enduring them? And it's all happening on this planet all at once. That blows me away. And I'm thinking, why in my little microcosm am I so upset about this, or this? Why? Because you're supposed to be. That's how we spiritualize matter. We lift things up, we lift energies up, we lift up the material world when we lift up ourselves. When we go into I call it the God space inside of us, our soul. When you go into that and you connect with whatever your higher power is, you can't lose because that's really where you're going anyway.
That's that's a profound realization when you're stuck in it, thinking going within is the answer, when it feels like there's so much pressing down on you and it's quite simpler than we expect it to be.
Well, that's very well put. If I can do that all the time, it'd be great. I'd be a master and I'd be on my way to ascending somewhere that's thousands of years off, I guess. I have no idea. All I can do is try to be in the moment, more present in the moment, to talk myself out of this. That is what I've gained with age. Go, what are you doing? His mom used to say to me, you get mad, you get glad. You got to talk yourself out of it. When folks say, how are you doing, Zoli? I always say, I'm always doing well, even if I'm not. I'm always doing well. And I'm not going to share woundology with you. I'm not going to dump my stuff or complain or whine. It does no good and it lowers your frequency. And we're here to help each other to raise frequencies. That's why we are here. That's the purpose of it. The lords of karma don't want you to hurt, to punish you. You're not being punished. What you're doing is shown. For example, Theosophy teaches if a man hates wealthy people and spends all his life hating wealthy people, in his next life, he'll probably come back as one. Is that crazy? Why? Because then he will understand why. This whole earth is about understanding and compassion. You're not here to be punished, to be called a sinner from what? You're saved from. What are you saved from? Yourself? What are you saved from? None of the great religions believe on that. They don't agree. So you got to go inside of yourself and don't believe me. I'm a talking head here in these costumes with this stage makeup, doing this fun stuff because I like theater. Go ask yourself hard questions. And what are your trigger words? Oh, this is fun. So, put on my glasses here. On the internet, I'm perusing, this is on this subject. I'm perusing the internet yesterday going, look at all these trigger words that are triggering my lower chakras. I'm going to give you some of them, and it triggers everything below your heart. And if you don't do or say or see these things, then these sites that have the visuals of the faces going like this and all the threats, the doom and gloom, they're threatening you that if you don't do what they say, that bad things are going to happen. Here are some of the trigger words: alarming, outraged, shocking, offended, evil, unheard of. This will happen to you if you don't do this. Or if you do this, this will happen to you. Shameful, frightening, bizarre. Lots of screaming, frozen facial expressions. Those words, and there are many more, are repeated over and over and over to activate your fight, your freeze, flight, or fight, your limbic system. It activates your emotions. This has been going on since Atlantis. Our emotions, we got so good at it that we're still doing it. It's our job to have a warm heart and a cool head. Those words and those people sitting there being gurus with their eyes closed and their hands, do this and you'll feel like this. They don't feel like that. They're trying to convince you that they do. They don't. So don't be fooled by this. It's very, very hard. I get pulled in by some of it too because I'm a person. And you don't have to be a god. You don't have to be a guru, a teacher, 1,000 facelifts, or wealthy. You don't have to be that because all that goes away. What are you taking with you? What you take with you is the warm heart and the cool head, the kindness that you've done for others and for yourself, and their forgiveness. But forgiveness doesn't mean you were a jerk and you hurt me, so everything's okay. Hell no. Be discerning. Be discerning. So I need to think about this. I need to feel this. Don't let somebody threaten you that you have to do what they say. I've had folks come up to me over the years and say, "Do you believe?" Da, 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 and they have this litany, and they're an inch or a foot from my face. Do you believe in that? What do you say? I say, no, yes, because if you say no, God knows what they're going to say. If you say yes, they just keep talking. The best thing to do is pretend you don't speak English and walk off. you know, you got to be shrewd. These masters are shrewd. You don't owe most people anything. If someone's standing in front of me, bloviating about their dogmatic fears, I think to myself, there are 8.5 billion people on the planet, and that's just one of them. Excuse me, I have to go to the ladies' room. Then I leave. I've left meetings. It's just my way. I have to protect myself. I'm a psychic medium. I love people, but I don't love what we do all the time. So be discerning. Those words that I just told you, those are some of the words that will be used to do what? Control you, control your behavior, give you excuses to do drugs and alcohol and bizarre physical things. Because why? Because everybody's doing it. You see it on the internet. Humans are very visual. So whatever we're seeing, we have these mirror neurons. We've discussed this before. So you have to be very discerning, but you can't do that being in a crowd of people all the time. Find a way, even if it's going into the bathroom and locking the door for 20 minutes, do something. Guys are very good at that. Like, what are you doing in there? You've been in there for 2 hours. Well, they just want some peace of mind, right? Just some peace of mind. And I say, why is the door locked? Because you just tried to open it. Oh, girls, we're awful. No, we're awful. So humor aside, find who you are, at least find more about who you are. At age almost 72, I'm still learning who I am and what I am. It doesn't end and it's not supposed to. And there is more grace and dignity in life than we even acknowledge. We are more alike, all of us, than separate. We really are. But our customs, our behaviors, our dogmas, all these things separate us to give us the opportunity to either engage or to walk away. Choose. Choose. Make a decision.
What's important about that, and including those trigger words you used, is that they're the purpose is to take you away from your authentic self. And put you in that scared, what you were talking about earlier when we were chatting about how hell is a choice, how we're making these choices to stay in that hellish fear-based world.
Yeah, that's so well put. That is so well put and so true, because when we make a decision to hear those words and to visually watch these people with these freaked out frozen faces, or the gurus that are doing this, and you are losing your own authenticity, your own power. I've had trouble with that my whole life because I'm an empathic healer. It's just what I do. So I've had to learn ways to choose to back out of situations or choose to stay engaged with boundaries. And it doesn't end. We are all boundary violators, every darn one of us. We just don't know. It's not taught in school. There should be a PhD in boundaries. I'm sure we'd mess that up too. But so what? I was reading an old Rosicrucian book yesterday by H. Spencer Lewis that he wrote in like 1935. And it talks about how these scriptures and the old works of the masters, they will contradict themselves. So did Plato. I contradict myself. So what? We do that all the time. But that's not the authenticity that you so wisely spoke of, Linda. The authenticity is something inside of us that doesn't change. And it is the part of us that is connected to that peace of God that never goes away. And you will carry it through every life. You never die in your consciousness. It continues on and on and on. Where were you first created? Were you created on earth 1,000 years ago, 1,000,000 years ago? Were you create? My husband's Arcturian. He and everybody wants to be an Arcturian because they're brilliant. His soul was created in Arcturus. He has the qualities of that place. They're not even physical. I mean, they auto, what is it called? Auto generate. They create people within themselves. There's no sexuality there. Mine is from, I was created on Vega, on Lyra. And you and I have discussed this, but that's not who I am. I got a birth certificate. I was born in New Orleans. Clearly, I'm not an alien. If somebody says they're an alien, go, no, you're not. You're a person. Well, I think what you're saying is you just discovered maybe you're star seeded, which means you have certain responsibilities to bring things here. It's not better than being a Terran, an Earth person. It's there's no better. It just isn't. It's just different. And I think that's what we're getting to. I have great hope in the generations I see coming up. You have young kids. These guys are amazing. They don't have the prejudices we had. They don't have a lot of the fears that we had. They have their own too. But this is a blessed generation. This is good stuff happening that's coming. You have to have
Yeah,
hope.
that's right. And they see things in a different way. And that new perspective, or allowing for different perspectives, brings about that hope and change.
Absolutely well put. Each generation, what Theosophy teaches, comes in with not only the neurology, but the soul preference to fix what the one before messed up. And what does that mean? You messed it up by doing what? By trying. I harp on just try. Well, you got to try, whether it's right or wrong. And so the ones coming up behind me are going to fix a lot of the things that my generation did. My parents' generation we're supposedly fixing what they did. So it never ends. It just doesn't end. But what I see happening is a calmness and a levity that is coming. I guarantee you we're going to have a peaceful world. It's coming. This is the end of the old ways. The world isn't ending. You got to pay your rent. Sorry, you're going to have to do all that stuff. It's not going to end. Did you check your bank account today? Did you brush your teeth? How much sleep did you have? You talk to anybody you love or like? Did you pet your dog? These are the simple things that carry us through. And what carries us through feeds our soul. It's so simple. And we look for these famous people or these guru, this or that. It's all this. It's these words in this thing again that we're being lied to, and then we lie to ourselves. My husband has a great statement. He says, we lie to ourselves first. And it's true. He and I are talking about recovery processes. We lie to ourselves first. Yeah, I do. I don't think I'm any different than any of you guys. I'm just not. Who knows where you are, what you're from, what you're doing. But we're all the same in so many ways, so many ways. And that's what I choose to look at.
That's such an accurate statement. And it makes me think about your phrase, you have it in your artwork as well, that only healthy people ask for help.
Yeah, I didn't make that up. I heard that at one of the first recovery meetings I went to almost 40 years ago. I was so shocked that there were a bunch of people sitting around talking about me and my life. They didn't even know me. I'm like, how do they know what's happened with me? Well, it took me a long time to get out of being a victim and sharing, as Carolyn Mace calls it, woundology. You bring out your wounds and you tell everybody what's happened to you and how wrong. It's a process. I hope we're moving out of that, because that's the biggest addiction, which is blameology, is what I call it. I'm a recovering helpaholic. I had to learn boundaries. I thought by helping other people that I was important. No, I wasn't. Maybe I helped a little bit, but to help people help themselves, that is the purpose of that. And you can only do that by owning your shit, right? When I do that, my life goes great. When I don't, that's still good.
That's such an important point about helping others for the wrong reasons, or sometimes we think we're helping people when we're really not. And that brings me back to Persephone, which we talked about earlier, because everybody thinks of Persephone, oh, we have to help her. She's trapped in with Hades. But your story twists that a little and shows Persephone as the divine feminine making her own choices and not requiring help from anybody at all.
Well, I have no idea that. I mean, I have absolutely no idea. It's clearly not the myth that's been carried on through the centuries. But the whole idea is that she took lemons and made lemonade. And it's supposed to be funny. And it's supposed to say, look, she says, I had all these boyfriends, and my father, Zeus, he ran everybody off. Can you imagine being me? She was a typical teenager. Hercules had that thing where he was always in the gym. Sisyphus had this thing with this rock, and Jason wouldn't leave these sheep alone. She's making fun of all this stuff, and it's just lightening up. It's like, look at things from a different perspective. Just look at it from a different perspective. Imagine when I can do that and imagine myself as somebody else looking in. It's humiliating. The stuff I say and do. I'm like, where did you get that, Zoli? Well, I got that from my own conditioning, from my own karmic lessons I came here to learn. I clear a lot of it with body code, emotion code. A lot. That's my technique that I have learned. I have a practitioner that I work with that has saved my life. But I'm not telling you to do it. I'm saying that's how I've done it: prayer and meditation and service, but not all at one time. We don't have to do it all at once. you know. And being a recovering helpaholic, I have to decide, how do I separate myself from this person? Spirit was very clear with me just in the last month, saying, pull back, look at you more, because you are in a cycle right now of growth in that way. There are other times where Spirit might say to me, get out there and go into town and do this, talk to this, go do that. But I'm not there right now talking to you. And I'm sitting at home. There's nobody within miles of here. My husband and my cat, your turkeys.
Listening to spirit, something that takes time to learn, and it takes practice to quiet yourself enough to hear.
Oh, it's a rich, rich experience. It really is. People that choose that route, I think, find there's no words for that, because you meld yourself with what I call the world of spirit, this very rich environment of those who come before me and those who have been here forever. The beings, the supernatural beings, the David. It's a very rich weave, and you don't always know exactly who you're talking to, but you can tell if it's good. I don't get stuff from icky things because I've protected myself. I've asked for protection. It's not into go into fear, But who you are magnetically, you will attract that to yourself. So to align yourself with spirit, the Holy Spirit, the divine feminine, with God, to align yourself with that, it takes practice. That's why they call it practicing a religion or practicing medicine, practice this and that. Because we repeat it over and over again. I have to do that with my diet. I might one day go, why am I putting all that weight? Well, I ate some carbs I shouldn't have, or this and that. So you reset. We have to reset. Nothing on this earth is permanent. It's just not. So we in our lives have to adult, that's the capital A, with different things in our life. And we have to ask for help. But that doesn't mean depending so much on other help that you can't do some things yourself. And that's going to be varied. And I certainly don't give any advice on that.
Just to keep trying and to be
Keep
kind to
trying.
yourself as well as others.
To try and to know what that signature of kindness feels like. What does that feel like? For me, I have to say, this person in front of me is now starting to talk about everything that's wrong with their life. The best thing I do now is say, let me stop you there. I hear you. But that's the kind of thing that you need to discuss with a licensed psychological counselor, clergy, or family. And I'm not a counselor. I can't give you any advice. And usually folks just want somebody to listen. But I have a limit to how much I can listen. It's just how I'm made. It's just who I am. So you want to be kind, but you can have limitations to your engagement with others as they should have with me. I drive some people crazy. I got some great enemies. You're really not going to be authentic. Enough people hate you. But so what? So what?
That's part of knowing you're on the right track, I suppose.
I guess. Life never ends. I know that. It just doesn't. This physical life will end. Clearly it will. I mean, it's supposed to, thank God. But there's so much out there. We don't know. We don't know. And I've said before, if you feel, God forbid, suicidal or anything that depressing, just remember that in a few minutes, anything can change. You don't know what can change. Or maybe you do. Maybe somebody's very ill. I don't have any judgment on that. But to most of the population, I would say to you what I say to myself. And what I say to myself is just wait a minute, warm heart, cool head, try to be reasonable. You may get glad, Zoli, find something.
There's always something to smile about, find the humor in.
It's usually me and my behavior for me, because I think I'm absolutely ridiculous with most of the things I do. I try, but I've learned a skill of watching myself watch myself. And that's very disconcerting, extremely so. But I do that because it's been part of my recovery process. I always got to I be a great comedian. I've got plenty of material right here.
It's curious how simple it seems to see the beauty and find the happiness, but when we're in it, it doesn't always take that turn. It's also just as easy, like you're talking about, with people who want to spill all their drama on you. It's also just as easy to kind of get stuck in the mud of the yuck. And it takes a real effort to get out of that sometimes.
It does, and I think to guard the self before you get in stuff. You have the right to avoid certain personalities, certain behaviors. Because if you don't, what's going to happen? You have the right to do that. Not all the time. What are our families? Our families are a gift of learning and tolerance. Our friends are. We all are in a way. But most of the time, I think if we think about it, we can avoid a lot of the stuff. Or to say something kind to people if I'm hearing you, but I can't help you. And if they just want to vent, let them vent. Whatever. It's what can you do? It's a personal situation. Walk away or don't.
Yeah, each situation will be different. That's for sure. And
It
it's,
is because life is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we can focus on the negative. The negative is often, Hollywood action movie, the big scary monster, but the kindness and the love can sometimes seem dull or a little bit boring, when reality, it's the other way around almost.
Very well put. I think psychologically part of the fun of watching, I love Steven Spielberg's movies. I love all that. You watch something scary, you can get up and go to the bathroom or get a Coke or something or whatever people are doing. And you survive that. You survive that hit on your amygdala or your freeze, flight, or fight. You've survived it. And so that's part of that too. Is it training? Part of why I think we watch things like that is to learn how to survive it. Maybe it's something that is implanted in us. If that happened, what will I do? Well, they did that. Maybe I could do that. It's very complex. Humans are very complex, but you're right. I think that those things that are quiet and peaceful and calming can be tedious and boring because we are made to experience things. And until we learn to have a comfort and a peace of mind as a daily chore, a daily something we're supposed to do. Until we can learn that, we're going to keep creating this crazy, whacked out world we have. What can I say? I'm in it too.
And it all
I
it
was
all
thinking,
goes back to us. Yeah, go ahead.
it does. I was thinking, I wanted to mention this to y'all. I thought of this yesterday. I was driving in Montana. We are now in tourist season. Thank God people come here. 2 hours above us in Missoula, you have Glacier Park. A couple hours below, you have West Yellowstone. You have the Bitterroot Mountains. It's absolutely gorgeous here. So we get a lot of tourists. So I was going over one of the 5 bridges in Missoula because we're divided east and west, north and south is divided, sometimes east and west. I don't know if I got that right. But there are a lot of bridges because the Clark Fork River snakes through Missoula. Now I thought, it took me 20 minutes to get over the bridge. And I thought, what if I just loved everybody here? And I took this opportunity to say the Ho'oponopono prayer to everybody. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. To see everybody as my beloved, everybody there. I'm not a road rage person. If somebody's rude or whatever, I just pull back and slow down and act stupid. Maybe I am. That's just my technique. But those kind of things, everybody's in our own world, right? We have our own reality. Those are our densities. But we share the same reality, which is this third dimensional reality. Call it what you want. The woo-woo people were in the fifth dimension. I don't know what you're in, but you're here. So if we can interject our personal beauty world into the world of others silently, what would that do? Just a thought.
That's powerful. So much, because when I think of a traffic jam, it's easy to get caught up right away in that energy of anger, impatience, frustration, and you feel hot and irate right now. But yet, when you pull back and feel love for everybody, you're all in the same situation. You're not going to get there any faster by hating people. The energy that we put out into the world would amplify, and maybe some of this crazy horrible stuff would stop happening.
And maybe I thought that because somebody else was projecting that to me. You see? And I do all that stuff. I get frustrated. I'm like, what the hell? We all do that. It's just human nature. But you're absolutely right. To have a warm heart and a cool head to calm the emotions and say, if I'm stuck in traffic, I'm part of the traffic too. That's ownership. When I do that, my life goes well.
I can see warm heart or cool head, but both at the same time. There's something I'm going to have to work on.
It's not that difficult. I'll tell you why. Because when you are feeling compassion, when you look at one of your kids that's sleeping and they're just vulnerable and cute, and you are thinking, you created this human being. So there's a thought process that goes with that love. And to me, that's what carries things forward.
That's I like that. Connecting the
We have a
heart.
brilliant future coming. We have a brilliant, brilliant future on this plane. AI is changing everything. It's not all bad. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of everything. Find a way not to be scared of all these things, all these words, and
Right.
these freaky people doing all this freaky stuff that you think you have to do. Just stop. Just quit. Just quit. You don't have to react to that. You don't even have to respond to that. It's not up to you to do that. That's their world, and they're trying to convince you that they're okay. Hollywood is dying. All of that drama and craziness and brilliance is dying. They're moving to Florida and Texas. They're moving these big sets, these big communities for many reasons I won't get into. I mean, I'm a libertarian. That's what I believe. Do what you want, be kind to others, less laws, less rules. I grew up in Alabama on the Gulf of America down there. I grew up in that area. It's just different than Montana. Montana's different than California. They're not bad, they're just different. So, what we're seeing is the transmigration of, I think, the belief system of dogma and drama and deception, which is leaving a place and going somewhere else. When you have movies being made in a different part of the country, I think there's going to be a different energy field attached to those too. Is it better? I don't know. It'll be different. Let's see. But the main thing is we have a brilliant, brilliant future in this world. We have it, expect it, be a part of it, and find something to be excited about. Find something in your life that you can be excited about and put your passion and your energy into that. I don't know what works for anybody else. For me, it's Zoli art. For me, it's walking out there, and I saw a 5 point buck in our yard today, drinking water out of the big tub. A couple of weeks ago, one of the black bears was swimming in it. That idiot, he ruined my fountain. He chewed it up. I don't care. But it takes me out of myself. I'm doing Zoli art because I have all this stuff inside that's creativity. For me, I find huge joy in it. And I have you, Linda. We have Tina. We have these artists on Upwork. It's amazing what we have been able to accumulate and create because we have the same vision. And that vision is kindness. And that vision is creativity. And we're not trying to tell anybody how they have to live, what they have to do. We're simply presenting the visual and the auditory of this is what we're doing. And to me, that's kindness.
That is kindness and love. And it provides a new purpose for people to have hope for freedom and possibility for a future that doesn't seem so ugly.
We will have that, but the old has to break down. The new can't come in until the old breaks down. You can't pour new wine into old bottles. Well, you can, but that probably means you made it yourself. I don't know. But the old has to break down, and that's what we're seeing. And we can't translate this destruction of the old with the end of everything. It's not. Look at all the new thing. I just saw on television the other day, there's now a pill that you can take that makes you not want to drink too much alcohol if you have the disease of alcoholism. We're very close to isolating the gene for Alzheimer's. We're going to fix all this. We're going to have clinics that you can walk into. They'll grow you a new liver and you replace it. That's coming. There are brilliant things that are coming. So don't do this. Don't do that. Don't go there. And if you find yourself going there, we all do, leave.
Yes.
Elvis has left the building. Go somewhere else in your head. Be outrageous and be courageous enough to not have to follow the lemmings. You are not obligated to do what everybody else does, what they're telling you to do. You're not. Personally, for me, I don't fit in anywhere. I never have. I'm a renegade. I'm reality pirate. It's just what I am. But so what? There's joy in that and there's sorrow in it. You're going to have both. You're not going to get out of it. We're going to have sorrow and joy. death and destruction and brilliance and birth. It's all there all the time. It's all happening at one time. So there's that discernment and the detachment of being able to look at all of it and say it's all happening now. So why am I focusing on just one piece of it? Feel free to ask me, because when I do my drama, I say, why are you focusing on that? Well,
The physical got to me, okay?
yeah, I mean, literally, my husband looks like to me like I swallowed a bug half the time, but he thinks differently than I do. I think differently than he does. He's a master of the physical world. He doesn't do relationships, communication, the subtleties. That's my thing. I love that. But I can't do what he does. Clearly not. I don't have 4 passports. I can't do what he does. But you come together with people and you serve and you help each other. You serve in that way. But you can only do it by being yourself. And that's one of my life lessons, to be authentic. And it has not been pretty.
That's an example of a powerful partnership and the true value of building relationships with people that are different from you, and that it's okay to be different because we all bring in different purposes and skills.
It is okay to be different or in some way. It's not okay to lie about who you are to other people and then bully them into believing that you have to believe what I believe about myself. I'm not going to get into that. I think you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
But if you are authentic within yourself, or if you're having a hard time, I can't tell you how many kids have come up to me and said, I'm an alien. And I say, you're not, you're a human. Well, I don't feel human. I know, but you are developing your personality, your sexuality, your connection to the earth, your connection to emotions. Give it time. Put on a bunch of hats. Be an absolute fool. Decide you're a this or you're that. But you're not going to stick with those things. You're going to grow and you're going to evolve. And I hope it's in a beautiful way. If you think you're an alien, you're probably starseed from another place, or else you saw a good movie and that looked good. It's the difference in the child's mind and the adult's mind. We need both, but we have to understand what's the source. Where is it coming from?
Yeah, we need to be curious as well as reasonable, right?
Yeah, that can be kind of hard to do, because curious also means opening ourselves up to other realities, other dimensions, other ideas. So you need to be firmly grounded in this one. You need to be able to be reasonable and not whacked out on drugs or alcohol or doing weird stuff just because you saw somebody do it. That's going to ruin your life. It's going to throw. I want to say to people, why do you want me to go have drinks with you? Why do you have to do drugs around me? Am I that boring? Alcohol is a heavy drug. It's regulated. Why do you have to do that? But we'll pass through all this. We really will. This is just temporary.
So keep holding on and being kind.
I don't think there's any other thing. I really don't. Find out what you came here to do. You have a mission, and it doesn't have to be big, but you came here and you know how that feels. Recognize the signature of that. It has a signature that you can recognize, and you'll know when you're doing it because you get more help from spirit. Once you do 51%, you're going to start getting a lot of help. And I guarantee that's true.
Thank you for your insight.
Well, I get half of it from somewhere else anyway. You're welcome. Thank you for yours.
A gorgeous conversation as always, and we look forward to everybody's questions and talking again next week.
Thank you, Linda.